these people are lying, but I just felt like no matter what, I'm not going to be heard.
Miss Underwood, Miss Wagner, we have Mr. McQueen on Zoom today, but then we also have guardians for some of the children that are present today that would like to speak. And because they are guardians, I believe they're entitled to speak. So you have no objection to that?
I don't have any objection, Your Honor.
So anyway, I have Rhonda Underwood appearing on behalf of Ms. Carver and Amanda Wagner appearing on behalf of the people. Ms. Carver is appearing via Zoom. So Ms. Carver, have you had a chance to read and review the pre-sentence report?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to discuss that report with your attorney?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney and the advice that she has given you?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Underwood, do you wish to explain or challenge the accuracy or relevancy of any information in the pre-sentence report?
We do not, Your Honor.
Do you, Ms. Wagner?
No, Your Honor.
All right, just one prior offense back in 2015. So, and there are no guidelines because this is a misdemeanor. So, Ms. Underwood, I would just ask that you allow Ms. Wagner and the victims to speak first. All right, so Ms. Wagner, you have someone who wants to
Yes, Your Honor, we have Wanda Short and Marnie Apple.
Okay, one at a time that can come up. I'm just gonna step up to the podium. And if you could state your full name for the record.
Wanda Short.
How do you spell your last name?
S-H-O-R-T.
Okay, very good. So what would you like to say to me?
I picked the kids up on the day all this happened, and the first thing was Mommy and Keys whooped Reese because they beat Reese. And that Reese says he has nightmares from this now, and he speaks as to Jasmine Keys as their monsters. And Isabel, his sister, the trauma from it onto her is she couldn't even go into a bathroom by herself anymore. None at all. And she was never like that. She was fearless. And she will sit on the floor and hold herself until somebody would come with her. That she's so traumatized from this. And I just wanted to, to make that aware of that. These kids, this is what over onto them. They are afraid. They're terrified because of that. And I just want them to be okay. And I just, I want to make sure that they're fine. And
They're in counseling?
Yeah, they do need, well, we're starting Isabella in counseling now, but yeah, they both need to be counseling, I think, yes.
Have they gone to counseling before this?
No, they were great, loving kids before this.
No, I mean, like during the process.
Oh, Isabella's been one time, as far as I know, and I don't have to ask Marnie about it.
Okay.
But she has been, they're starting it, so she needs to be in counseling because we got to get past this, because she said she won't go to the bathroom by herself, and she would get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom by herself, not a problem. And now she won't. She's terrified, and they're terrified they're going to run into her. She's terrified she's going to run into her at the store. Reese, like I said, he's watching this cartoon about monsters, and he refers to her and Keys as the monsters in the TV show now. I had photos on my table of us at Chuck E. Cheese on her birthday, on Izzy's birthday, and she ripped them up and ripped her mom out and taking it to the counselor, and then drew all over it with black marker, like cut her right out of it. And I walked into the kitchen, and here these pictures are just tore up, and I was like, baby, what are you doing? I don't want her in these pictures. She did not want them in. She didn't want her in them. She just tore them up. And I just think she's been really traumatized from this, and I just want them to be better. She shouldn't have to pay for what she did. I really do. I hope that they do. Definitely needs parenting classes. I think that Jasmine loves her children, but she doesn't know how to put her children first. She doesn't know how to sacrifice for the kids. You put your kids first, always, as a mother, and she's never done that. No. And I've known her since Isabel was born. So I don't think she ever will be able to put her kids first.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to me.
Of course. You step up to the podium too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And could you start out by stating your full name?
It's Margaret Apple.
Spell your last name?
A-P-P-L-E.
Just like it sounds. Okay.
Yes.
So go
What's
ahead.
your first name?
Margaret,
Thank you.
M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T.
Thanks.
I guess first and foremost, Wanda's referring to the incident with Reese happening in a bathroom. That is why Isabel is is having issues with the bathroom. But from the very beginning, after this happened, Reese would have nightmares. He would holler out in the middle of the night or cry. He would holler out things like, quit, don't, stop, I don't want to, why? Or he would be crying in his sleep. And he occasionally, I mean, we try very hard to spell around him if we have to be speaking about anything referring to this, so that he's not picking up on anything. And he just comes right out and just says stuff. Something sparks his memory, something he sees on TV, something somebody says, and then he just interjects with, Mommy and Keys did this, or I didn't like it when Mommy did that, or I don't ever, 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 ever want to see Mommy and Keys again. And I don't know how, I guess, exactly describe what it's like for him on a daily basis. We move on, we do as much things as we can. We all spend as much time with him as we can, trying to get further and further and further away from the incident, that I'm hoping that it's not going to carry, he's not going to carry this for the rest of his life, but he speaks a lot about it. And when I initially saw the bruises, the first thing I said was, oh my goodness, Reese, what happened? How did you get all these bruises? He said point blank, I peed on the floor. He was in the middle of potty training. I peed on the floor and Mama and Keys whooped me with a belt and put me in a corner. And I was the one that reported it. I was told to get Tommy and get it medically documented and started all of this. And I'm really and truly hoping that these kids can get past this and that they don't have all these residual effects and these lasting effects of years and years and years of abuse. And I do believe, I'm just throwing this out, Isabel suffered longer because she was older. And even we're a year exactly at this, and Reese is still talking about it, still making reference to it. And I just say, well, you know what? Everything's okay now. This is how I move him out of the direction of him starting to, you know, everything's fine now. You're safe now. Everything's good now. You know, just so that I'm hoping slowly but surely we can kind of work this out of his mind so he's not as traumatized. But he's still to this day, a year later, has nightmares and dreams and still talks about how he doesn't want to ever see them again and that they are monsters. And I am not one of those people. I do not discuss this. I do not prompt him. I do not ask him questions. I don't ask him how he feels about this incident. This is something that we just never discuss, and he is the one that brings it up.
But he has to talk about it. And that's why he should be in counseling. He should be doing talk therapy. He should be discussing it with professionals and working through it. He has to talk about it.
Yes, and Tommy has that paperwork.
Okay. Because if he
But
doesn't.
what I encourage, and that's what I was saying earlier, is that, well, you know, everything's okay right now. You know, you're safe right now. Yes, I do understand what you're saying. I appreciate that.
It's not safe, like he's safe today, but so I think, you know, he's doing good about talking about it, but he needs to be in counseling. Both of them do.
I do understand that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Anything you want to say on behalf of the people?
Yes, Your Honor. So just briefly, I think it's important to note that when this investigation happened and Detective Putnam was investigating it, Ms. Carver was not cooperative. She lied several times and was caught in those lies. She said she didn't have a belt at all in the home. They found a belt in the home. She said it wasn't her belt, it was a friend's belt who had stayed the night. They went and interviewed that friend. That friend said, no, I've never spent the night there. That's not my belt. That's not my size. Wasn't even her correct name actually, or the place where she was employed. So there were a lot of lies that were told about this. When I saw the photographs of the injuries on this little 3-year-old, it was startling. They were very distinct and clear belt marks. There were marks that indicated to me that the buckle of the belt had struck this little 3-year-old as well. When I asked his father, Tommy, and his guardians, Wanda and Marnie, to describe their reaction when they saw those, they cried as they told me about it. And they said their immediate reaction when they saw the marks was to cry. You're not supposed to see marks like that on a little boy's body, on a little child's body. And I guess I'm especially disheartened this morning as I look at Ms. Carver on Zoom, and I don't think that you had the benefit of seeing this because you were focusing on Marnie and Wanda as they spoke, but Ms. Carver rolled her eyes and shook her head as they spoke, and I didn't see one bit of remorse from her. And I hope that she has remorse for the injuries that were inflicted on her young child, but she didn't demonstrate that this morning as Wanda and Marnie were speaking, and I think that that's really disheartening. I just ask you to take all of that into consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Ms. Underwood.
I'm sorry, I cut out there first.
For a moment, I'll address that. Your Honor, I would like to start out by saying this is a tragedy for all concerned. Ms. Carver does not minimize in any way the damage done to her children. Ms. Carver understands that. Ms. Carver has lost custody of her children. Ms. Carver is not even allowed any parenting time with her children. She has paid a price for that. Your Honor, Ms. Carver, I believe there was an assault case with Ms. Carver as a victim with the other person who was initially charged in this. Your Honor, Ms. Carver makes no excuses, Your Honor, for her conduct. Ms. Carver told me this morning that she has been getting daily texts from anonymous people threatening her and saying really repugnant things to her. And that's, I think, why she is upset this morning. In addition to what we're doing here, Ms. Carver fully understands, Your Honor, that she has a long way to go, both as a person and to make herself, to atone for what happened here, Your Honor. We would ask that the court sentence Ms. Carver to probation with the provisions that the court feels comfortable. Ms. Carver does not live in the county anymore. There should be no excuse for any contact between these people at all at this point. I think it may never happen, but I think that we would ask the court to comply with the plea agreement in this matter, Your Honor. Ms. Carver is ready to and eager to get this behind.
Ms. Carver, anything you'd like to say on your own behalf?
I need this to be reminded. When I had my daughter, being my circumstances, I understood that I couldn't care for her. And I gave her to Wanda. I put my trust in Wanda for my daughter. I didn't get any kind of full custody of my daughter until about a month after I had asked them if I could put her on my taxes because they had been filing taxes for her. It was a problem. They stole her social security card and went ahead and did it anyways. I was trying to get Section 8 housing for
So
me
Ms.
and
Ms. Carver, listen, I want to hear what you have to say about the fact your children were beaten. So why don't we talk about that?
I never, and I really say this with all my heart, and I feel like with what we've been through, I would never put my hands on my children. I realized that somebody else was, and I got away from them. I take blame for not noticing that that was happening, and I apologize for that. I do. I apologize. I did not realize that was happening. I didn't. I love my children, That will never change. And I have completely removed myself from all of that. I'm going to church. I'm going to parenting classes. I'm going to therapy. I'm doing everything that I can. And I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to be there for my kids. But I get woken up every morning telling me that I'm a horrible person and that's why my mom died and my dad doesn't love me and I should just go kill myself. And it's like I'm trying everything I can. And I realized I made mistakes. And I put myself and my children around people who they shouldn't have been around. And I regret that. I will always regret that. But I'm doing everything that I can to fix the problem that I can be allowed. You know what I mean? I'm doing everything I can. I will do whatever I can for my children. I will do whatever I can. And even if that means I have to do it from a distance right now. I understand the predicament. But at the same time, these people, I mean, it doesn't even matter because, I mean, I have people who could stand up and literally attest to say that these people are lying. But I just felt like no matter what, I'm not going to be heard. So,
Ms. Carver, thank you. In determining the appropriate sentence in this case, the court has considered the seriousness of the offense, your history, the principle of proportionality, the statutory penalty, the cost of confinement, the sentencing guidelines, the report and recommendation of the probation department, as well as what has been said upon the record at this hearing. The criteria and reasons for the sentence are the nature and gravity of the offense, the discipline appropriate to its commission, deterrence against repetition by you and by others, potential for reformation, vindication for the law, and protection of society. So, Ms. Carver, what I heard was a lot of deflection of blame. Being a mother, I know if my kid has a bad mosquito bite. I certainly would know if someone was beating the shit out of my kid. And you're not talking anymore. I'm talking. So, you know, unfortunately, this happened, and now your kids are going to pay for this for the rest of their lives. The rest of their lives, because in their eyes, you are a monster now. So I'm glad that you're making progress. I'm glad that you're doing things through CPS, but you know, these children will take years to recover from this, and that's why they need to be in counseling. They can't forget about it. They have to deal with it. So they need to be in counseling so they don't marry a man who beats the crap out of them or, you know, beat the crap out of their girlfriend. You know, they have to change that. And unfortunately, you did not protect them. And that's why we're here today. So it's sentence of the court that you will pay. You'll be placed on probation for a period of 12 months under 769.4A. During that term of probation, you will pay $750 in court costs, $450 court-appointed attorney fee, $100 fine, $50 in state costs, $75 crime victim rights fee, $30 per month supervision fee. During your term of probation, you're not to use any illegal controlled substances, any alcohol, not to be unsupervised around any minor children under the age of 17. You are to maintain employment, not to commit any assaultive behavior. Anything else?
I would ask for no contact order between her and the children, and
This is a yes case, right?
she's lost custody to both children at
Or
this
her parental
point,
rights
so
terminated?
I believe so.
Okay. No contact with the minor children.
And can we include the children's fathers? I can give you their names, as well as Wanda Short and Margaret Apple, who frequently have the children in their custody.
Okay. So Miss Underwood, no contact with the children, their fathers, or the guardians. So you understand, Miss Carver, you're not to have any contact with either biological father or either of the women who were here speaking today, Miss Apple and Miss. Do you understand that?
yes, will I be able to see my kids ever again?
No, you lost custody. You lost your parental rights over them. Your rights were terminated, correct, Miss Carver?
I thought my custody was terminated. I thought I still had rights.
I don't know. I don't have that file, but I don't know if you'll ever see your kids again. You know, maybe when they're adults, if they want to see you, but that would be them when they're an adult. Okay. What are the father's names?
Tommy Veazey, Veazey, and Carey, Caree, McQueen.
Carey,
It's pronounced Carey, but it's Caree,
McQueen.
McQueen.
All right. All right. So Ms. Carver, you do have the right to appeal this sentence, and we're going to mail to you 3 copies of your notice of right to appellate review. You'll initial and date 1 copy, put it back in the self-addressed envelope and mail it back to us. The other copies are for you. And if you wish to appeal the sentence, you would fill out the information on the form and mail it to the address listed on the form within 42 days. I'm going to need you to report to the district court probation officer on July 11th, next Thursday, between 8 and 10 a.m. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you also need to maintain employment. Ms. Adams, I'll need to fill out a district court. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The choice, not only the choice, but refusal from the child to go for the visitation. The child has adamantly refused, has threatened to run away and go to my parents' house and hide if I try to take her there. She wouldn't come with us today, even into the courthouse, scared that she was going to have to go with him.
The court will hold her in contempt. And Ms. Claywell, what I'm going to do is, this is a history. This isn't a one-time. It isn't something that's occurred, as you say, because of the child's gender dysphoria. This has happened when she was 9 years old, before any of that happened until the current time. What the court is going to do, I am remanding you to the custody of the Calhoun County Sheriff, where you will remain until the child goes for parenting time. So however long that takes.